Hi guys, and welcome to another of my order reviews. I guess I should explain that nearly all of the stuff that I review I bought. It's not all brand new, some of it I buy second hand. The main reason for that is you see a lot of channels where stuff's reviewed and it's brand new. They tend to be sponsored, so they tend to get the stuff, they keep it. 99 out of 100% of my, well, sorry, 99 out of 100, pretty much all of my stuff is bought. Sometimes I trade, so some of the guys we send each other stuff on Random Platypus, some of the guys I've known. There's also the Lead Adventure Forum UK and EU bits box exchange, which kind of moves around when it's working, as it should, to different people. When you take something out, you put something in, you send it on to the next person. That's been going for several years now. Started up by Matthias Mouse, and then I've kind of taken over running it for the time being. So we've had that going for a few years, but generally speaking, nothing has been given to me to review. I'm not a great reviewer, that's probably why. I haven't got like hundreds of thousands of followers, that's another reason why. But also I think it's nice to be independent. I can say I don't like this and nobody's going to go, well, we're not sending you anything to review anymore. I think it's good to be honest, and then I do the scale shots as well. Now I know some people probably don't even do the comparison shots of things, and I think it's one of the most valuable things online, because so many of these companies rely upon online sales. It is the main place for them to make their money, and there are so few ways or places where you can go and ask for or get lineups of figures to see what scale they are, how they match up to each other, so that you can order them to mix and match. You know, like some people will know that a Copplestone figure from his Future Wars range may fit quite nicely with the original Necromunda figures in terms of height. There might be a bit of difference chunk-wise, but that's maybe okay. Just like with, I would say, just trying to think, hassle-free figures, there's a slight difference in height between a hassle-free figure and, say, an Infinity figure. But the proportions are very similar, which makes them kind of usable. I'm going to just grab a couple just to give you an example, because I think it's well worth. These guys I use in my lineups anyway for modern and stuff. But as you can see, there is a bit of a height difference, but it's not huge, and I think you could get away with having a couple of the hassle-free figures in an Infinity Force, because not everybody is the same height. And as long as you sort of, you know, again, you could probably plot the Infinity guy in a small force of hassle-free figures, because the sculpting is similar, the proportions are similar, they're very, very nice figures, and they work well together. It's that kind of stuff that we, as collectors, as hobbyists, we don't see, so we don't know. Without having those comparison pictures, and also getting an idea of what these companies are like to deal with. You know, some people say it's not necessary and they don't have to put a big thing in there saying thanks for your order and all that kind of stuff, but I think it's good customer service, and it just makes you feel a little bit more valued as a customer. So this is a Heresy order. Oh, I've got a refresher bar here. Or a bit of one. I shall. That'll be another thing that will be going to my wife. That's again another thing. The sweets, fantastic. You know, not everybody wants sweets. That's fine. It's not a big deal. I'm sure if you put on your comments, I don't want any, they won't put any in. But for me, I get them and I give them to my wife, and it, you know, she likes having the sweets. It's just one of those little things that makes it a little bit nicer. And you wouldn't know about that unless you've ordered. And if you haven't ordered, then where are you going to find out? So, anyway, I've ordered this is Dynamic Borris, I believe, who's running. I've got, it's insane, I've got loads of options here. So I've probably got as much metal in options on him as I have on the actual Borris himself. So that's the body. I seem to have a choice of, oh, I think one of the heads has come away from the, I know, maybe it's the weapon that's come off the end. Yeah, one of the... I don't know. I can't make it out. Well, I don't mind. I've got two sort of Borris heads that I can use. I've got, that's what I say, Borris heads. They're all Borris heads, but there's... Actually, I've got three ball Borris heads and a helmeted Borris head. So, barbarian. I've got a big double-handed axe. I've got a warhammer and a spike mace, I guess, and then the arms to go with it, and the leg. So I have and it looks like I have a choice of giving him the two-handed options, and then there's also I do like that there's a kind of humour in a lot of the Heresy sculpts, which I think is suitable for things like fantasy, because it's not, I don't think, although I like my fantasy dark and gritty, I do like a little bit of humour in things. It's the same as like goblins and like the GW squig herders and squig hoppers and stuff. I like a little bit of silliness, but not too much in my fantasy. And it's just got a tiny dagger on there as well. So it looks like what you can do with him is you can build him for a game that Heresy came up with called Dungeon Bowl, or Dungeon Ball? Dungeon Ball, or something like that anyway. So with this closed and open hand and stuff, you can make him a Dungeon Ball maybe. Yeah, it looks like one of the weapons came off here and the other one off there, so I'm not missing any heads or anything, it's all complete. So it is nicely dynamic, and again, I will do a line-up photo with him because he is a bit bigger. He's chunkier because he's a large barbarian. I don't know if he's a half ogre or anything like that. I don't know the backstory behind him. Maybe I'll have to speak to Andy and see if I can get him on. Maybe I can interview him somehow. I need to get myself a microphone. That might help over Skype or something like that, and record it, and then speak to him about his range. So I think he's becoming one of the sort of... There's so much choice out there these days that I think companies are becoming a bit forgotten, like what they stock, what they have to offer. Andy's struggling a little bit at the moment in terms of orders and things. I don't really need to review these. I'm pretty sure that I've reviewed the alien heads before, and most of the figures I've got that I put them on are currently in a box, but I have got on my workbench some of the other ones that I haven't finished painting. Now they're black, so I don't know how well you can see them, so I'm sorry if you can't, but they all have the Heresy heads on them, which I really like, just to make something a little bit different really. I need to work on some more of the winged ones that I've got as well to finish making those, but yeah, so on to the next one. Like I say, you'll see those heads everywhere because anything I've done sci-fi has got those. So I've got a trench-coat gang. So again, could be used as Delac if you are into your Necromunda. Again, you get the base figure. I've got a pistol that can be used as a las pistol. I have two katanas. I have two shotguns with hands on them. And I've got two, what he's named McDaddy's, I think. Yeah, McDaddy's, kind of like Desert Eagles. So I'm probably going to give him a sword and a pistol because he's just kind of in that kind of moving pose, and he would look cool. And I don't think I've got any others with close combat weapons, but what I really like is I've got the choice. I can put a pistol in this hand and a sword in that hand. I can put a sword in that hand and a sword in that hand. I can do any combination of them, and because they've got the hands already sculpted on them, they're incredibly useful for conversions. So even the pieces I don't use they're just really well thought out for making conversions for stuff. So you stock your bits box every time you buy these option ones from Heresy, which is why I recommend you buy them. It's just brilliant. He does also have a bits range, and I think you can see them there. There's a couple of Uzis, right hand and a left hand Uzi. Again, I'm going to be probably using things like auto pistols, because that's kind of what they are. And because I hadn't got him and I really like him, I've got the original version, which is like a minigun. Painless Joe's the heavy for the trenchcoat gangers, and he has two variants. The first one, like I say, has the minigun, and the second variant, so there's the handle, gun arm with the handle. The second variant is like an big energy gun. So whether you want to use that as a, I suppose you could use that as a plasma gun. But obviously it doesn't look anything like a plasma gun really, other than it looks enough like one, if that makes sense. And the backpack that goes on the back to feed this, and then you've got the handle on the side. Hopefully you can kind of see how it works. So yeah, you could probably use it as a las gun as well. It's sci-fi enough for you to use it as anything, or create your own rules. Again, he's a little bit bigger because he's a heavy. You'd expect him to be the chunkier guy, wouldn't you? But not outside the realms of, you know, it being a human and fitting in with other things. So yeah, I'd recommend having a look at the Heresy site, and having a look at the bits. And he just has so much stuff. If you're populating your dungeons with nasty monsters and stuff, he's got things like blights and demons of different sorts of heroes. Those of you who like your Games Workshop stuff, if you like the new Games Workshop orcs, I believe that at least some of them have been sculpted by Steve Buddle. He did a range years ago that Andy now has at Heresy. So yeah, again, I'm really happy with my order, and that's another review done. I shall get some more photos of these. What I might actually do is, because it would mean gluing the Trench-coat guys together, I've got the minigun version and I've got some others, and I can put those in a photo. It's going to be a little bit more difficult with Borris, and I'm not sure how soon I'm going to be making him. So what I'll do is, if you keep an eye out on Random Platypus, when I do take a photo, I'll update the YouTube post with a link to where I've done the comparison shots. But like I say, I'll definitely have a trenchcoat guy in it, and I'll put one of the aliens in as well, because why not? So yeah, cheers guys, and there's going to be more reviews because I've got a few to get through, so I thought I'd record a few and then I can be working on them over the weekend and stuff. Alright guys, so catch you next time. Bye bye now.